So hey cats and kittens, this is Lex and welcome to the Crochet Fiberist. And as you can tell, I am the eponymous Crochet Fiberist. Here we talk about crochet. I have a huge emphasis on Tunisian crochet, but all crochet is loved in this house. I am very interested in knitting, the knitting community and being part of the overall fiber community. I'm definitely a spinner. Knitting I can do, and I like learning new techniques, but I actually don't knit that much. It's not a question of capability, it's a question of passion, and I'm very passionate about crochet. So today we are going to talk about a lot of things of cabbages and cakes. So let's get started. I want to get started. Should we talk about my beautiful little top? Let's talk about my beautiful little top. I will stand up. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but it is what it is. This is a non-titled self-made top that I made was it last year or was it the year before? I want to say this was made right after I had the baby, but it may be right before I had the baby. It was in one of those times. I think it was right after. Anyway, the point is, this is Ching Fiber, the yak silk singles. I think it's like 523 yards per 100 grams. I used 2 different colorways. Didn't realize that, but I did. And I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is a yarn with a green base and then purpley speckles. It looks blue. I'm probably going to update my camera at some point, but it's definitely purple, and it's just this simple, easy, cozy little top that I made for last summer. Last summer I was just postpartum, and I wanted something nice I could wear because, as I'm sure anybody with critical thinking skills can assume, things are a little bit different after you squeeze out a human person. So that's why I made this. I love the eyelets. They feature prominently, and I really, really love this giant cowl neck. It's giving me all kinds of life. Dogs. Do you like that? I love it. This may get turned into a pattern at some point. I don't know. There's a few things I'd like to finesse and update. It's a great little piece. I'm wearing this over my Gap linen dress. It's a full-length linen dress, exactly what it says on the tin, and I just pop things over it. It's part of my uniform. I've been wearing a lot of really plain jumpsuits and dresses, and then I can accessorize with a lot of my crochet. That's been my goal. So that's what I'm wearing today. Today we are going to talk about finished or semi-finished objects. We are going to talk about some things I picked up, and we are going to do some musing on 2 different subjects, one being the occasion of my 30 years in the fibering community, at least tangentially, and the other thing I wanted to talk about was a pattern I'm working on, actually designing, and just a little bit of my designing instinct and how I'm going about this. So let's get into it. So what am I working on? Do I want to talk about what I'm working on, or do I want to talk about let's talk about what I'm working on. So I am one of those people who's working on 15 different things. That's just the way it is. I am in the process of straightening up my house though, so I don't know if that's going to impact my ability to get things done. We'll see. Anyway, sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face, and I shrunk it so it wouldn't. So first I want to show you the bag. Oh, don't you want look, this is one of my favorite bags by one of my favorite bag makers. This is Matterroot. She is amazing. You should find her on Instagram. You should go to her website. She makes the most amazing bags. These bags are, I think this one is wool, if my memory serves. And then there's this beautiful patterned wool on the inside. See that? The craftsmanship is excellent. I am so down for this. And the best thing is there are no zippers. Now I can do zippers in my project bags, but sometimes I really need to stay away from zippers because I've had a couple of A, near misses, and B, terrible, horrible experiences. So I love the idea that you just fold it down, connect the buckle, and you've got a bag that can go with you anywhere. I do a lot of biking right now, and this I can pop one of these on one of the either in the back or in some other part of the bike and keep going, and this takes a lick and it keeps on ticking. Please go see Matterroot. I don't get anything if you guys go, but I want to see her win. She is super nice. She is super kind. She is super accommodating. One of these days, if she ever decides to take custom orders, I am going to request some things. But until then, I got this honeybee one. It's black with the gold lettering. Normally she has all these different colors and they always come out, and then I know she's working on her fall stuff right now, and I'm so excited. I'm sorry, here I am just gushing over this bag, and I love this bag. This is like great. It's big enough to carry your other everything you need for a shawl. I have put sweaters in here with no problem, and there's a second pocket. There's an internal pocket that you can put your accessories. So add over, okay? It's not really an ad, I'm not getting paid, but add over. And it sits like a yarn ball, so while I'm working. And while I am utterly impressed by the bag, I am deeply fascinated by the project. First, let's talk about the yarn. Here is what it looks like. It's being loved, so you get what you get. This is Loops and Threads Cotton Cream. It's a chainette cotton yarn. And let's see if you guys can see that. You know what? Let's see if this helps. I don't know if that helps right there. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Forgive my janky finger. I slammed my finger in the door earlier this year, the car door, and it is just, it's slowly healing. So that's what it looks like. You get this giant ball. It's 430 yards to 200 grams. You get it for about $5 a pop at a Michael's, and I don't know how many Michaels still have some left, but this is on clearance, so if you're interested, you should definitely go grab some. I am an equal opportunity yarny. I do like luxury and exotic fibers. I think for me, it's just finding the right fiber, the right construction, and the right yarn for a project. It doesn't matter. You may see acrylic. You're going to see acrylic on this season of the Crochet Fiberist, because frankly, occasionally I find things and I'm like, oh, that's really fascinating. Or if I'm testing an idea, I find that I am less concerned if I am using a yarn that did not cost me an arm and a leg and a down payment for my car, you know. It's just like that. Anyway, so this is the yarn. This is the fabric. Let me see if I can show you. think about that, kiddos? Can you get into this? This is supposed to be the back of a sweater. I'm really, really interested in the fabric. I don't want to say too much just yet, but I am going to probably last week of every month do a episode where I talk about swatches, and I will talk a bit more about what kind of swatch this is. Suffice to say, it's a very easy pattern, and my goal is to turn this kind of looks lacy. So I'm curious to see if it's going to wear, like as you wear it, is it going to look too lacy, or is it going to retain this very almost solid aesthetic? I don't know. What I do know is I like the way it's being made. I love a navy. Blue is my favorite color. And I think this yarn is so interesting. I do not work with a lot of natural plant fibers by themselves because they tend to wreak havoc on my hands. They do. Even spinning sometimes can wreak havoc. I went through a phase where I was doing a lot of spinning of cotton, and well, that brought up a ton of complicated emotions, which maybe one day we'll talk about. I think the thing that I found myself most uncomfortable with, which is such a weird way of putting it, is just how much my hands ached when I was done working or done spinning. I guess it could have been the tools I was using, but cotton is notoriously a complicated fiber to work with, and I find I've done some knitting with cotton, and I don't really like it, even though cotton dishcloths are all the rage. But this, I think the construction, it doesn't give it bounce, but it is a gentler hand. I don't know how they did that. I am very glad they decided to do that. So this is a very, very top, the very, very top, the back of the neck. So I got a lot of work to do, but I was noodling around on this while I was taking a break from other things. So there you go. I will let you guys know about the progress of said project, but I was kind of hoping to get it done by the end of this month because I know I have a sweater that's due this month, but we may be going in a different direction for the sweater this month. We'll see. So there's that. Is that the only other thing I worked on before I get into my big project? It's not really a big project, but it's definitely, here is another project that is in work. I finished the main body, but I still have things to do. So I posted a picture of the fabric on my Instagram, which is Lexicom with a 3 instead of an E. And I just posted a picture of this fabric. I love this fabric. It's really interesting. It's a variation of what you saw in cotton. Show you what it looks like close up and personal. It's really simple. Again, super simple construction. Really easy. Really mind-numbingly easy, actually. And so the yarn is something I'm madly in love with. I am passionate about interesting yarns. And like I said, I don't care. You will see the spectrum here, and this definitely represents the spectrum. This is this is Prairie. You can currently purchase this from Stunning String Studio. They have a stunning buffalo section, which are buffalo yarns that were or are created by Buffalo Wool Company. They decided to get out of the, I guess, selling of buffalo yarn, but I think they still might be doing the production. I don't know what's going on there. The point is, Stunning String Studios has this yarn. It's really gorgeous. I don't think they have this color. I purchased this from a booth at Stitches. Let me see if I have a skein of it. I should. Yes, I do. So there it is. I keep buying this every time I see it at Stitches. The Fiber lady is the person who had it, who dyed this. It's a bison and muga yarn. This is 60 grams, 200 yards. And it's really fun. Bison is springy. The only thing I would say is if you're a little delicate, you may not like this close to the skin. I think there was some dehairing that went on, but it is not the most thorough dehairing that I've seen, fiber-wise. The other ingredient, of course, is one of my favorites and what I'm super in love with. It's Muga silk. It's like, take Tessa and drench it in gold, and there you have Muga. I am addicted to Muga, and I'm addicted to what it does to this yarn. So if it was just the bison, you'd have this springy, downy kind of fiber, but the Tessa adds this dull, beautiful shot underneath glow, and it just kind of permeates the whole yarn. It is glorious. It is so nice. So this is the body. I have some other ideas for the edging. I'm thinking about going in a bunch of different directions, and I just haven't decided which way to go. So this will sit in my stash until I can figure out what I want to do with it, and then we'll start working on it. So this is the second thing that was in queue. Okay, is that everything? I think it is. So let's talk about the main project in question. So I want to go back and talk about another thing that I'm deeply passionate about is LYSs. Give me a second, let me take a drink. You know how everybody's always like, oh, I drink this. And even I occasionally say things like, drink what you want in moderation. And I tend to do that. I do. Most of my mornings I have a kale and berry smoothie. I am not crunchy, but I actually like the taste, so I take it. Sundays, I kind of cheat. I have a cheat day. You probably shouldn't have a cheat day, but I have a cheat day, and that's Sunday. And this is what I'm drinking. I'm not drinking tea. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm not drinking something really sophisticated. I am drinking Pepsi Cola with real sugar. So, sorry guys. Yes, I have some water too. Don't worry about it. All right. Let's get back to. So, one of the things that I have been worrying about since the Rona. Now, this is a much less serious concern than, the lives of people and the fundamental structure of our society going down the tubes, the existential crisis of a paradigm shift in the world's economy. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot to be worried about. So this is significantly less children going back to school. This is considerably less important, but it's still something I'm worried about. I'm worried about LYSs. I cannot imagine the hit they took this year. I can't even think about it. And for me, LYSs have been such a place of comfort, such a place of belonging. It's taken over some of my social interactions, which is which says more about me than it does about these shops. They're doing a gloriously well. They're doing a great job, but that says a lot about me. Um, they've taken over large swaths of interactions just in general. And to not be able to go to a yarn shop for 2 or 3 months was very, very difficult. Um, I'm glad shops did what they had to do, but I know they took a hit that they just could not walk away from. And so out here in the Bay Area, where I'm living, as they started opening or making things available online, I tried to get in and show my support. I think in this day and age, we have all established that we vote with our dollars. And I want to vote for, I want to be, I want to support communities that A, have supported me, and B, are supporting creativity and art. A lot of times we call fibering a craft, and I think there are ways that it can be used as a craft, but I think we as a community are working there. You can see the elevation in many cases of fibering into an art. So I want to be a part of supporting that. Um, so that's what I've been doing. And in doing so, I was given the opportunity to use some yarn that I've used before and really loved. But you use this yarn and yarn support to build a shawl, to build a project, to market, to create, to design a shawl, and support this LYS that I'm about to talk about, and support their yarn brand. So I figure no time like the present. I also like to keep things super transparent. I've met the owner of this yarn shop. My first trip to this yarn shop, which is Royal Bee Yarn Company, was when I was, I think, 8 or 9 months pregnant. The week I went on maternity leave, I determined to go to Pacifica. I don't know how much driving you're supposed to be doing when your belly is like right on the steering wheel. And I don't mean that as anything offensive to folks in different sizes. I mean that me specifically when I was pregnant. My daughter took up a lot of space. And that's good. That means she was growing. But I don't know how much driving I was supposed to be doing. But I did it anyway. So my first trip was there. She saw me at, I think, 36 or 37 weeks. And I was wallowing in, looking around. I sat and talked to her. I sat on her purple couch. She used to have this lovely purple couch in the middle of her store. And you could sit there, and I would sit there for hours. And once I gave birth, I returned to that store, and how do I say this? I was surrounded by so many people who loved my daughter. And I'm having a hard time expressing how much that meant to me, because I was going through a lot of postpartum that I did not understand. I didn't know that I was dealing with at the time. I was in a lot of pain for obvious reasons, and I felt so alone and so scared and so powerless and so out of my comfort zone. And when I took my daughter to essentially just say, hey, look, it's out, the kid's out, I was surrounded by so many positive, lovely people who passed my baby around, and just, I felt welcome at yarn shops before, but that was the first time where I was like, these are my people. These are the sort of folks that I want to hang out with. Now, I don't live super close to Pacifica, so I can't make it my everyday kind of yarn shop, but definitely it's a weekend store that I really, really love. And the drive itself is glorious. I've taken my bike out after I went shopping and just rode along the edge of Highway 1. It's on Highway 1. You know what? There's a little beach kind of inlet thing, and I've biked around there, and it was a lovely bike ride. I've eaten at some of the places. I had breakfast at one of the spots one time, and it was delicious. And just a really lovely view. I'm trying to set up a getaway for me and my husband out there and just treat it like a second honeymoon, since our first honeymoon was Vegas. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say that this yarn shop will feature prominently probably in the show, even though this is not going to be a show of eternal acquisitions. It will be a show about exploration in all of its forms. So in that vein, I'd like to introduce the project I'm working on. It is sitting in a bag that I made years and years ago. It is called the bento bag. I'm seriously considering renaming it. I do not want to be culturally insensitive. I think at this time, it's time for us to all grow up and realize that you can appreciate cultures without being dismissive or disrespectful. So I am considering a name change. Let me know what you think. But this is the bag. Honestly, the next iteration of this bag is going to be lined because my hook pops out of it. So here is the yarn. Now, I've done a version of this shawl before, and I think I showed you last episode. Do I have it around? I do not. Sorry. I had it last episode. It was a 2 color shawl, and so let's go back. The owner of Royal Bee Yarn Company has produced 2 different yarns. There's one called the Purple Couch Collection, which is this. It's a worsted, spun, super springy. I think it's an unsuperwash treated. It's really pretty, and it's got these dreamy variegations. I think the stuff she has on her website are primarily for tonals, but if you call and ask her, she can probably send you pictures of the variegated yarns. So there's that. And she has another yarn. Here's the first version of this shawl I'm going to be showing you guys, or talking about. This is the first version, made of the same yarn. This is the current version. I made that about 2 months ago, I want to say. You can tell things are a little bit different. For one thing, I'm using a larger hook. This is a 4.0 millimeter. Should be able to see that. Yeah. A 4.0 millimeter hook, and I think this one was a 3.5 or something. I wanted to give the stitches more room to breathe. So I finally finished writing up the entire pattern yesterday in the afternoon, and so I figured I was gifted with 2 skeins of Kelly's yarn so that I could for yarn support, and that was really generous. She was such a sweetheart for that. I'm so grateful, and I will take that with me. And it is the perfect yarn for this shawl. It was I literally looked at the yarn and said, that's gonna be my shawl. And I would definitely, if you're interested in this pattern, which my goal is to have it out by the end of this month, but we'll see how things work out. I would definitely suggest you go to Real Yarn Company. I'm going to put the website in my description below, and I don't get anything. Like, I'm not that person. I don't have that. I don't have that say. All I do have is a voice and a passion for yarn and a respect for people who are able to create beautiful things. So, there's a yarn. I think it's called Vikey's Cold Drink. Vikes. I apologize. That's what I think it is. I will, again, list that in the description below. There's that. Here's where I am. I think I'm on, sorry. Here's where I am. I think I'm actually on row 28. I count the hearts, the heart bobbles, and that's how I keep track. I also have the pattern written down on my iPad, and I have a little check mark, so I just check mark as I go down the rows. It's about 100 rows, so that's a lot of fun, but this is working out beautifully. It's working up quickly. Of course, I haven't gotten to the halfway point, so my mileage may vary. My goal is to do 6 rows during every sit-down session I have today. So I typically have 4 or 5 sessions where I just sit and work on projects, and this is going to be my main project. I don't know if this is going to be a commute project. It might be, because it's really easy. I'm not doing a whole lot of thinking. I'm just testing the pattern, because I wrote everything down and I was like, oh my gosh, it took forever. Which is really hilarious because it's such a simple pattern, but I wanted to make sure the numbers were right, and I really kind of wanted to simplify the pattern to its essence, because I'm introducing concepts that perhaps somebody has not seen in Tunisian crochet. So here it is. Here it is. Okay. I will show you, hopefully the next time we see each other, this will be done, and I will have more to say about the yarn and the finishing, and I think I'm going to be doing a video about the cast on and the setup and the stitches that you can expect in this project. So stay tuned for that. I will probably be asking for test crocheters in the very near future. So if you're interested in that, drop me a link, drop me a note in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Alright, so we have talked about this very special yarn and this very special project. And let's see if I can find the very special bag it goes into, so we can talk about other things. Alright, let's talk about other things. On the note of yarn shops, LYS's, community, I'd like to celebrate 30 years as a crocheter. I started when I was 7, in the middle of some very difficult times for myself. There were a lot of, I grew up in a standard kind of household. My parents were both military, so that involved some moving around, and it was, for me, I think the biggest takeaway was I felt like there wasn't a place to belong. We were always weird in every space we found ourselves in, and I took comfort in learning this skill. I was in daycare at the time, and this beautiful lady from El Salvador decided to teach me to crochet, and I didn't really understand, but I was kind of an active kid. I would be running around. I was a little crazy, and this poor woman was at her wit's end, and she's just like, here, sit. And she taught me the first steps of crochet, but she taught me Tunisian crochet. So for the longest, I was doing Tunisian crochet, and then I had to learn regular crochet. So that was my entry into the fibering community. I took it with me when we traveled. I took it with me as we moved from place to place. Crochet went with me to college. Crochet nursed me through my emotional breakdowns and nursed me through some really hard times, like family illnesses and things like that, deaths. It saved my sanity in a million different ways. My yarn comes with me on commutes when I was still taking the BART into the office. Yarn is sometimes just an inspirational skein in my stash, you know. It's a reminder that I'm a person and I exist and I am part of a place. That's what crochet means to me. It means I am rooted somewhere. I belong somewhere. That is what crochet means to me. And I'm hoping for another 30 years of crochet, and I look forward to at least introducing the skill to my daughter. I don't know how she's going to handle that. I don't know if she's going to be as passionate or even interested in it at all, but I think it would be glorious just to have her, just to see that she has a basic knowledge of the yarn or the fiber, and that would be great. It would be an awesome thing to give to her. On that note, I just want to shout out a couple of yarns that have come into my life in the last couple of weeks. This isn't going to be an every episode thing, mainly because I have these things called bills and obligations, and I need to take that very seriously. But I really wanted to talk about these yarns because they kind of segue into another aspect of the yarn community. So I don't know if you are aware, but there is currently in the Bay Area a Bay Area Fiber Festival, or fair, sorry. It's a Bay Area Fiber Fair that's going on right now. It is a replacement for those of us who would be going to the fair this year, whether it be the county fair or something like Lambtown or Retzlaff. I don't know if you remember Retzlaff. I miss Retzlaff. I totally forgot that. Retzlaff would have been happening and we did not get Retzlaff. It breaks my brain and my poor dark heart. Summers are great for fairs is really what I'm trying to say, and in the midst of the Rona, we're just not going to get that opportunity. So a couple of designers have come up with the idea of creating a virtual fair, and I will list that information in the description below as well. You can win prizes. I think a lot of the activities and the opportunities to win will be on Instagram. You can get stickers. I did not pull my stickers out, but I got stickers when I purchased the things I'm going to show you. They're really cool coloring pages that are coming out every week. There is a whole collection that came out with, I don't think it's in conjunction with the Bay Area Fiber Fair, but it was kind of an addition. It was a beautiful collection of sweaters and shawls and accessories for the NorCal weather. There have been some glorious things that have been designed. I believe Kira K? Yes. Kira, she's well known here in the fibering community in the Bay Area. She has a crocheted a shrug that is just gloriously beautiful. A FIFA. Oh gosh, please forgive me if I misspeak there. She is very well known in the fibering community here in the Bay Area, and I think beyond, frankly. And she came up with this gloriously cute jacket, knit jacket, that almost made me want to pull out my needles, almost. And the color was just amazing. The colorway, it was something else. And like I said, I will link to that. You will want to see that. I will try to see if I can link to something besides Ravelry, because I know a lot of people are going through issues with Ravelry. But I will definitely link to that below. You can read all the instructions for the Bay Area Fiber Fair. You can win prizes. I've seen people win just prize packs of the pattern and the yarn, or different patterns and yarns. It looks like fun. I think there may be gift cards coming down the pike. I don't really know, but it sounds like a lot of fun. I may join. I think you should join too. I think it goes till the beginning of October, but you should check so you know what to expect. All right. In that vein, let's talk about the things I picked up. And it's really only two to three things. So I have been looking at this yarn for a real long time, and I just could not pull the trigger. I could not make myself pull the trigger, which is weird because I think I have this yarn in a different colorway, I think, but my heart is blue is my color. Okay, that's just the way it is. So when I finally sat down and crunched the numbers and thought of a project that would go well with it, I said, okay, I can do this. So this yarn company has been really, really influential in my love of single sheep breed yarns. Sincere Sheep is close here in NorCal, and she has her yarns in most of the OISs, but I decided to go to her site because I really wanted to support her. I really think, I believe the proprietress, her name is Brooke, and she is super friendly and super nice, and makes beautiful yarn, frankly. So here we go. Here is the yarn I picked up. Yeah, is that not pretty? The gradient colors just makes my heart sing. This is a Sincere Sheep's Cormo fingering in the gradient colorway, and the gradient of the Anga. It is, the wool is from Wyoming, which is kind of cool. It's 500 yards, 4 ounces. So it's really, really pretty, really squishy. Cormo is definitely, between Cormo and Polworth, those are my favorites. And this year I was supposed to be working primarily with non-superwash merino yarns. That did not work at all. That is not how that worked out this year. But I definitely want to recommit to investing in more single breed yarn, and definitely things that aren't just merino, even though there's nothing wrong with merino. So this is going to go with my Sincere Sheep fingering Cormos in, let's see, these are the same yarn, just the tonals, and it's also 100% Cormo, 500 grams. Really, really nice. This is the 9 Mile Ranch in Wyoming is where this yarn comes from. So these 3 are going to be something I am still thinking through. It's going to be a sweater. I just don't know what kind of sweater yet. But I would love to have something squishy and warm for the fall and winter. So that was my first purchase. The other purchase was, I mentioned a designer named FIFA. I feel like she reminds me of someone. I think I've seen her at a Yarn Less Raveled, which is a yarn shop in, not San Ramon. Danville. And I think, and I can't swear to it, I could easily be wrong, there used to be a yard shop called Nine Rubies, and I think I saw her there once. I could be wrong. Who knows? I've been here way longer than I intended to be, so I'm remembering all these things, and I don't know if they're all connecting. So, yeah, Afifa created this beautiful sweater called Later's Baby. I don't know what that's a reference to. I suspect it might be a reference to 50 Shades of Grey, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I will say the colorway that my other favorite LYS, the Black Squirrel, dyed for this was incredible. Now, the Black Squirrel is like, that is a true LYS. She is my work LYS. She is 15 minutes away from where I work, and I am in fact investing in an electric bike, partially so I can bike over there during my lunch breaks. Okay? Really great store. It's funky and modern, and she has a lot of interesting yarns. She does a lot of indie work, or she has a lot of indie. And recently she took up the pots herself and started dyeing. And her specialty is dyeing yarn that glows under a black light, which is super cool. I think she has tattoos that do the same thing, and I'm thinking that might be the way to do tattoos. That sounds like a lot of fun. Aside, she does these really glorious neon colors. I'm not normally a neon color girl at all, but her colors are just so much fun and vibrant and full of life. So she did a color for, so all this to say, Black Squirrel did a color for Afifa's sweater. It's so pretty. It's a peachy pink with like splashes of raspberry. It's gloriously pretty. The yarn, the colorway is called Sunspots, and it's on her Viv sock base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. So 400 yards to 100 grams. I purchased 3 of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. It may become a later's baby or something else. I don't know. But here is the yarn. You like it? It reads peach on my screen, but it's more of a hot pink with peach undertones, and then the raspberry speckles. So it's really interesting. I am curious. I want to make something that's a little more, I don't want to say sophisticated, but something that will last the next 10 to 20 years. And I don't know what I can make in this that is going to last, because it's going to look so tacky. Like, I'm going to look back in 30 years and go, what on earth was I thinking? But right now, the color is just so beautiful. I dig it so hard. So that's what I purchased. So those are the things that I wanted to show you, and those were the stories I wanted to tell you. So thank you if you've come this far, and you know what? Enjoy life. Keep the fiber. Keep fibering, folks.